Good day to doctor. This is from one representation. So now I would like to present the movie of witness for the prosecution. Trump Tower's character Leonard Wool, who is suspected of killing Emily French, a wealthy widow, is the central character of the narrative. When the Wool case goes to trial, Charles Loftus' character Sir Wilfred Robert, an intelligent and ailing defense lawyer, chooses to take up Wool's defense. The prosecution, led by Mr. Mills, seems to have a strong case against Wool as the trial progresses. But with the aid of his nurse Miss Pilsoe, Sir Wilfred discovers surprising twists and turns. Wool's boss Christie emerges as a pivotal witness conflicting intricacies in the case.
One of the most important pieces of evidence in this movie for the prosecution is the oral evidence made by the investigation officer and the housekeeper, Janet Mackenzie. Before we dive in further, Section 3 of the Evidence Act 1950 stated that oral evidence is statements by witness as the court permits concerning the matters of fact. Section 59 provides that oral evidence can be accepted as an evidence except in cases to prove content of the document. The witness who gives oral evidence must only state matters that are perceived through their senses, and it must be direct given under Section 60 of the Evidence Act 1950. Thus, oral evidence is statements made under oath and done in the open court as permitted by the court. Its admissibility can be seen in the case of Poh Siu Cheng, whereby the court held that oral evidence sworn under the oath is acceptable as evidence even when it is through a phone call. The Section 60 acts as a prevention for hearsay for evidence whereby any oral evidence testified under the oath would be considered direct evidence and therefore admissible. Now, let us look into detail of the evidence in this movie. Precisely at minute 42:55 seconds, the witness for the prosecution was called to give statement under oath. The statements being in the investigation officer stated that in his investigation, he found a brown jacket at the prisoner's house with blood stain on its arm at his flat. He also added there was sign of washing on the jacket. This evidence is important for the prosecution to prove the occasion where the murder was being committed. According to Section 7 of the Evidence Act 1950, occasion refers to relevant facts or facts that demonstrate the conditions that led to the event occurring. This can be seen in the case of R against Richardson, which provides that footprints at the site of shoes that have been repaired with iron knobs or nails were deemed to be one of the effects of the facts in question. Similarly, in this case, the circumstantial evidence added with oral evidence by the investigation officer made it clear that the murder has taken place and proof blood stain on the jacket can be found on the prisoner's jacket. To strengthen the prosecution's case, Janet Mackenzie, who serves at the house of Mrs. French, was also called to testify under oath. A piece of evidence is utterly important in reliance to the case of Brace Girdley against Oxley, where the primary facts are facts observed by the witness and established through testimony. In this movie, Janet Mackenzie stated that she went back from outside and heard Mrs. French was laughing with Leonardo Wool through the away crack of the door. Soon after that, she also stated that she heard a noise of broken glass in the room. Section 9 stated the introduction of relevant facts to establish the crime being committed by the accused. This is reasonable evidence, as Janet Mackenzie also stated that Leonardo Wool regularly come to the house, thus why she could recognize his laughing. Is relevant to establish an opportunity to commit murder in accordance to Section 7. To constitute the relevant fact, the opportunity must be exclusive. It is evidence that shows only one person was present at all times during the offence and was otherwise capable of committing the offence, which would suffice to provide the culprit's identity. In Aziz bin Muhammad Din, the circumstances provided an opportunity for the alleged rape to take place. Similarly, the prosecution case was to prove his existence at Mrs. French's house at the time, and he had the opportunity when Janet Mackenzie was outside to commit the crime of murder.
Now our focus turns to a critical piece of evidence, a raincoat bearing the stains of Emily French's blood. As the narrative unfolds, Inspector Heater, representing the prosecution, introduced a compelling item, a raincoat. This piece of circumstantial evidence holds the potential to link Leonard Viol directly to the crime scene. The essence of this evidence lies in the ability to connect Leonard to the murder. A blood-stained raincoat discovered in Leonard Raincoat's apartment becomes a key element, suggesting his presence at the crime scene and implicating him in this grave act. Now let's explore the legal foundation. Section 11 of the Evidence Act 1950 allows for the relevance of facts supporting inference about another fact in issue. Section 7 introduces the intriguing cause and effect relationship between our raincoat, Leonard, and Emily. As we navigate the legal landscape, we encounter the corpus delicti rule, a principle demanding independent evidence of the crime before linking it to the accused. In our reference case, Public Prosecutor versus Ahmad bin Said, we witnessed the importance of proper analysis and corroborating evidence. As we step into common law cases, State v. Davis discuss similar bloodstain evidence and the need for proper identification and handling. Section 11 permits the introduction of circumstantial evidence, but the robust link is essential. The corpus delicti rule insists on establishing the occurrence of the crime before attributing evidence. Section 7 considers the cause and effect relationship, emphasizing proper identification and handling. As we scrutinize the evidence compliance, we find a nuanced picture. While it is presented under Section 11, crucial details such as blood typing and chain of custody remain exclusive. A compliance with the corpus delicti rule and Section 7 is inconclusive due to deliberate ambiguity. So in conclusion, the Raincoat stands as a silent protagonist in this legal drama, offering a tantalizing glimpse into the truth. However, its significance hinges on meticulous legal scrutiny, awaiting confirmation of blood typing, chain of custody, and the establishment of a robust link between Leonard, Emily, and this enigmatic Raincoat.
Next, we will be discussing on the evidence standard by the defense counsel, which is in favor of the accused. The evidence standard was letters written by Christine, and they were sent to a guy named Max. It was proven during the trial that she was the author of the letters. So, in these letters, it was stated that the accused wife had plans to frame the accused on the murder of the victim and make him look guilty. These letters, which were tendered by the defense counsel, falls under the documentary evidence. So, in common law, according to R versus Day, documentary evidence is any form of evidence that includes pertinent information printed on it. So, the best evidence rule, which limits the parties' ability to present evidence to actual, primary, and direct evidence, has long been used by common law courts. Also, in Malaysian law, it states that all documents produced for the court's inspections are considered evidence under Section 3 of the Evidence Act of 1950, which these documents are referred to as documentary evidence. The next document content may be proven by primary or secondary evidence according to Section 61 of the Act. And also, according to Section 62 of the same Act, primary evidence is defined as the original papers that are produced for the court to review. It is also well illustrated in the case of Allied Bank Malaysia Berhad versus Yao Jiao Hua. In this case, the court decided that it is a standard procedure to call the maker of a document when it is sought to be proven in order to show the veracity of the information contained in it. The contents of the document will become hearsay if this regulation is broken. One of the evidence tendered by the defense counsel in favor of the accused, which was the letters written by Christine, are relevant. According to Section 11 of Evidence Act 1950, shows that the fact not otherwise relevant are relevant if by themselves or in connection with other facts they make the existence or non-existence of any fact in issue or relevant fact highly probable or improbable. According to Section 14 of the Evidence Act 1950, it also states that facts demonstrating the existence of a mental state such as intention, knowledge, good faith, negligence, rashness, ill will, or goodwill towards any specific person, as well as facts demonstrating the existence of a physical state or bodily feeling are relevant when relevant or in dispute. As in accordance to the case R versus Day, the defense counsel had deduced the documentary evidence by showing the real letters that were produced by the accused wife. It had also been confirmed by her on the witness stand to be the maker of those letters as shown in Allied Bank, Malaysia. Next, as per Section 11 states, facts that could be proof the existence of fact in issue being highly improbable is relevant. As seen in the situation, the letters show that the accused was being framed, showcasing that the fact in issue of the accused being the murder is highly improbable now. The evidence standard was in accordance with the law as Section 3 provides that documentary evidence are documents produced for inspection of the courts, where the letters adduced by the defense counsel are documents produced for the court's inspection. Plus, it is also in accordance to Section 11 that allows the letter to be adduced as relevant evidence. Furthermore, the evidence given complied with Section 14 as Christine's letter clearly demonstrated her mens rea, which is intention in framing the accused for the victim's murder.
So now, moving on to the second evidence in favor of the accused, the evidence that we have is an oral evidence, which is the oral testimony by Leonard Volt from the witness box. The defense counsel had the accused, Leonard, be the only witness for the defense case. Leonard then testified in the examination in chief and cross-examination. Leonard pleaded not guilty, and from the testimony, it shows that he testified that he has no financial ties with the victim, which establishes that he has no financial motive to murder the victim. He also testified that the blood stain found out by the prosecution on the jacket was caused by him cutting himself and not from the murder. The reason why the evidence was tendered is so that the accused himself could prove his innocence by testifying under oath. The principles in common law regarding oral evidence is as seen in the case of R against Turnbull in 1977. The case serves as a reminder of how crucial it is to provide the accused the opportunity to give evidence to their case and how carefully the judge must instruct in evaluating the evidence. As stated by Lord Dublin, an oral testimony is the foundation since it's centered on the idea that the witness should give factual accounts based on first-hand knowledge, that is the questioning. Thus, Leonard Volt, even as the accused, should be given the opportunity to testify for himself. On the other hand, in Malaysian law, Section 3 of the Evidence Act 1950 provides that oral evidence refers to all statements that the court allows or required witness to make in open court concerning factual matters under investigation. For a witness to provide oral evidence, they must swear an oath in open court and present their testimony as proof of the truth of what is being claimed. In addition, Section 9 of the Evidence Act states that any facts which rebut an inference suggested by a fact in issue are relevant. This is applicable to the situation as shown in the movie, where his testimony are facts presented to the court that are rebutting to the inferences, which is his alleged murder, that have been suggested by the facts in issue. Moreover, Section 11 of the Evidence Act shows that facts not otherwise relevant are relevant if they are consistent with any facts in issue or relevant facts. To apply this to the situation in the movie, Leonard's testimony are relevant facts as the facts presented in his testimony are inconsistent with the facts in issue, which is whether he had committed the murder of Emily French. Thus, his testimony, even if it comes from the accused himself, is relevant and admissible to the case in hand. Then, in addition, Section 59 and 60 provides for the proving of oral evidence. Section 59 states that all facts, except for the content of documents, can be proven through spoken testimony. Section 59 allows for oral evidence to be used to establish facts, with the exception that the content of written document cannot be proven solely by oral testimony. On the other hand, Section 60 of the Evidence Act, which enacts as oral evidence, must be direct. A witness must give their testimony based on the facts or information that they have received directly through their five senses. As shown in the case of Shi Wee Kian against Spangko Sdn Bhd, the evidence was what the witness heard and saw for himself. Thus, the evidence from Leonard Volt was what he had heard and perceived himself. He testified that he had no financial ties with Emily French, which shows a lack of motive for the murder, as well as testifying that the blood stain found on his jacket was caused by him hurting himself from a knife, as he also have blood type O, the same as Emily French, which is also the blood found in the crime scene.
To sum up the points, as what had been presented on the evidence in favor of the prosecution, evidence given by the witness on what she had perceived on 14 September indicates that there are facts cornering the accused, creating room for him to be present on the occasion, as well as opportunity for him to do the murder. Same goes with the bloodstains. Only when a person commits a crime, the after effects such as bloodstain raise the high probability of the accused to commit the crime. So, for the context of the evidence in favor of the accused, which are the letter and also the testimony, the burden on the defense only to the extent of creating reasonable doubt. If the presented facts are relevant with the facts in issue, the small hole of doubt could release the accused free. All in all, adherence towards the law shall be observed strictly in order for the court to accept the evidence presented. So, before we end our presentation, I would like to quote a statement where we shall keep in mind that all admissible facts are relevant, but not all relevant facts are admissible. That's all from us. Thank you.